Hello everyone, today we are doing part 3 of the Anytime Beer Packaging series. If you want to check out part 1 or part 2, I will link them over there. Yeah, so this time we are doing Solo Dance Party. So after this person has had their summer shandy with their lunch break and their after work drinks with their friends, they have gone home and now they are having a solo dance party. So let's jump into Illustrator and get started. Okay, just to explain what I've got going on here, I once again have our setup like normal. It is 8.125 by 5, which is going to be a sticker that does not wrap all the way around. We have our colors, and then we also have the logo, and then our labels, and then our little vector elements. And then new on the left, we have some photos that I'm going to reference for this illustration. And just like a little aside, every single artist uses references in their practice, so don't be afraid to use them, especially if they are just little background details in your piece. Unless you are like completely copying it and that is what you're trying to sell and is not your original piece, that is a no-go. But if you're just referencing it, or in my case, I'm going to be using this for the proportions, that is perfectly fine. Now, I have this dark blue color as the main color in this illustration just because it's a night scene. However, it is a hard apple cider, so we might be throwing in a couple little elements that are red, such as the egg chair, just for that purpose. So the first thing I am doing here is creating some windows, and I want them to be those like tall apartment windows because we're going to be adding a couple little details in the background. Okay, so I really wanted to do a mid-century cabinet here, so I wanted to have some little feet. So to make these feet, you can just grab 2 points with your direct selection tool, and then they're usually wider at the top and skinnier at the bottom. So you can just move those points around until it feels good. And that's how you make some mid-century feet. Okay, so now I want to make the cabinet doors. So to do that, we are going to go to offset path and then make it -0.2, I think, yeah. And then you can go into split into grid, 3 columns, and then just add a gutter and you have some cabinets. We're going to move our potted plant in there. It's definitely not a ficus. I'm not sure what kind of plant this would be referencing. However, it works, so it's fine. But looked up a ficus and this is not it. Okay, so this is what I meant by adding in some elements of red. So we will make our little flower red. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is create the fire escape and the ladder outside the window. So to get that angle, we are just going to create a skinny little rectangle and then grab the top 2 points and drag them over while holding shift. And then I want to get that exact same angle for the handrail. So we're just going to drag that over, create 2 straight lines so that it has a start and an end point. There's probably an easier way to do it, but this is the way that I do it. I just add a point to one side and then I delete that point. So that will open up the shape. So if I create a stroke, now it doesn't close. So then I can grab this point here and that point, and then we have a handrail. So that's what I mean by referencing an image. I'm not like using this piece of photography in any way in my design. Especially if I was reselling it, then I would want to create 100% my own original artwork. Okay, so now I want to create the kind of balcony wrought iron fence that we got in this photo. Okay, so you just hit Option, Shift, and drag just to keep it lined up, and then hit Command D to copy that action. And now we are just going to delete any that we don't need. And if I was smart, I would have done this in isolation mode, but you know, we all make mistakes. Not a big deal. Kerning this font is kind of interesting because you have these very like bulbous serifs, but we are going to try our best. So the best way that I've heard to do this is to match the space in between your weirdest set of letters. So right now that's my A and my R. So you want to imagine that that space is filled with water or another liquid, and then try and match that same amount of liquid for the other letters. Because my inclination is always to squish everything together, but that's not always the best way to do it. You want to just try and match the best visual proportions that you can. And then the best thing to do is just to like zoom out really far and then take a look at it and make sure that everything feels the same. So that actually looks pretty good, so I'm just going to stick with that. Okay, so the last two things that we have to do are our egg chair and the record player. So I think I'm going to start with the record player and then move on to the egg chair because I think the egg chair is going to be like a little bit more difficult. We will have to see. So now we have finished our record, which the record is red, and I'm kind of liking the way that that's looking right now. So the next thing is going to be our egg chair. Okay, so if this was for an actual client, before it went to print, I would go back and clean up all those edges so it's not just in a clipping mask. However, for our purposes, that's just going to work since we aren't sending this to print. But I think that's going to wrap it up for part 3. Thank you for tuning into part 3. I'm also planning on doing another video where I print out some labels and stick them onto a real life mock-up and how I would style them for a photo shoot for just a case study. I am by no means a photographer, however, I feel like kind of doing your own photos and styling your own shoots is just another way that you can kind of level up your projects and make them stand out. So that's going to be coming out very soon. If you want to connect, please follow me on Instagram. My handle is aliskoeh.ai. Thanks, we'll see you in the next one.